Just ahead on CTV News. Will Governor Moore be taking a trip to El Salvador? And the second man was mistakenly deported. Plus,
2 arrests have been made by the Prince George's County Police Department following a local man being scammed out of tens of thousands of dollars. I'm Bryce Parker. We'll have all those details coming up on CTV News.
And cyber criminals steal a record high last year. Find out how much and more on CTV News starting now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for April 24th. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Katara Jones. Thanks for joining us. While Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen recently made a trip to El Salvador visiting the wrongfully deported Maryland man, don't expect Governor Wes Moore to do the same. When asked by reporters about Kilmar Abrego Garcia's situation, Governor Moore emphasized his concerns with due process rights. Moore said, quote, "This is a case about due process. It's a case about are we going to follow the Constitution or not. This is not about immigration." The Supreme Court ordered the Trump administration to facilitate Abrego Garcia's return to the U.S., but while he is still jailed in El Salvador, a second group of members of Congress visited him. Governor Wes Moore said he is not planning to go down to El Salvador.
Meanwhile, a judge is now ordering the Trump administration to return a second man who was wrongfully deported from the U.S. to El Salvador. A Maryland-based Trump-appointed judge says the U.S. broke a court-approved deal by deporting a 20-year-old Venezuelan last month. The man, identified only as Christian in court documents, came here as an unaccompanied minor and was supposed to stay until his asylum case was decided.
Fraudsters are becoming more clever by the day.
CTV's Bryce Parker is at police headquarters speaking with a county man who hopes that you won't be the next victim.
As technology continues to evolve, criminals will continue to evolve with it. They're becoming smarter with their tactics to scam vulnerable county residents out of even tens of thousands of dollars at a time.
This particular one was really polished. I did not see it coming. I like to think of myself who has like a really good sixth sense about this, and it failed me this time.
An elaborate fraud scheme siphoned $40,000 from this county man's bank account. PGPD says that these sophisticated crime schemes are actually becoming more common.
They start off with alerts, and then they work their way into victims giving their funds to strangers under the belief that they're moving and securing their money to trusted government or bank officials.
The 3 of them made a very convincing, plausible, extremely polished presentation, convincing me that by supposedly safeguarding money that I had in my account, I was actually putting it at risk.
2 men are now in custody for crimes of this nature. In this case, 25-year-old Parmveer of Grove City, Ohio, and in another unrelated but similar case, 47-year-old Gong Lee of Flushing, New York. Both suspects allegedly used Microsoft support pop-up ads to begin a crime spree, defrauding victims of up to $800,000 in cash and gold bars.
Don't give your passwords away or PINs. If it sounds suspicious or something that you don't want to do, hang up. If you're embarrassed, call the police. We're going to try to help you. We're going to try to build a case, and every little bit of information, whether you think you can't remember something or not, allow us to do our job and get that information from you.
Following the 2 arrests, one of the things that the sergeant tells us is not to rush to give anyone any money. If you do have a dispute with your bank, make sure you take your time, and you can always visit your bank in person. In Upper Marlboro, I'm Bryce Parker, CTV News.
All right, thanks, Bryce. You can also file a police report online at the Prince George's County Police's website. And a new report suggests older Americans are being hit the hardest as cybercrime becomes a growing problem. We show you how. The latest internet crime report released by the FBI reveals a shocking $16.6 billion lost from suspected internet crime in 2024. Keith Custer, supervisory special agent for the FBI, says the $16.6 billion is only what has been reported to the FBI.
The actual figure is much, much larger.
Most of these scams happen online, particularly ones including cryptocurrency. The target? People over the age of 60.
That's mostly because they've accumulated the most over the course of their lives, right? So people in their 20s and 30s kind of have less to lose. It's not that seniors are particularly susceptible.
According to the 2024 report, the most complaints were received from California, Texas, and Florida. This year's annual report shows a sharp increase from the $12.5 billion previously reported in 2023.
Potential victims should stop, take a breath, consider what they're doing, consult with a trusted friend, family member, or loved one, and really resist that urge to act quickly. So the scammers, first of all, are going to try and isolate victims, and then second of all, convince them to act quickly. And it's that kind of pressure that leads to people making rash decisions.
Now, if you or your business are a victim of an internet crime, contact your financial institution first, then your nearest FBI field office and local law enforcement.
We now have updates into a deadly officer-involved shooting that took place at the National Harbor over the weekend. 44-year-old Avon Bucknor Jr. has been identified as the man police say approached them with a knife before opening fire. Bucknor later died at an area hospital. The two officers involved in the shooting are Corporal Philip Johnson and Acting Lieutenant James Martinez. Johnson and Martinez have a combined 30 years of experience with the Prince George's County Police Department. And a male thief in Montgomery County is accused of stealing almost $50,000 in checks. According to reports, a woman has been charged with stealing checks from mailboxes, altering and then cashing them. The suspect was ultimately discovered after being caught speeding in Silver Spring. Reports show that the police found business and personal checks that belonged to other people in the car, along with cash, a printer, and a USPS mail carrier's bag and hat. Investigation reveals that this crime has been going on since the fall of 2020.
35 years ago, NASA opened a new window to the universe. The Hubble Space Telescope launched on this day in 1990. And to celebrate, NASA just dropped some stunning new images, including one of the clearest views of Mars ever captured. The Hubble team says the iconic telescope is still going strong with over 1.7 million observations and counting.
The Hubble team and astronomers everywhere are excited and very gratified that we're reaching this 35th anniversary milestone for the Hubble Space Telescope mission. This mission is older than many people on planet Earth. A lot of people today have grown up with the Hubble Space Telescope as being a part of their lives, and that's something I think we can be very proud of, that this eye on the sky has given people around the world a new view of the universe, how vast it is, how beautiful it is, and how active it is, and how we are all fellow citizens of planet Earth just looking up in awe and wonder at what we're discovering because of this wonderful miracle of technology.
NASA says Hubble's legacy is just getting started, paving the way for the next generation of space exploration. Well, some Marylanders will be receiving 2 Social Security checks next month. Those who receive Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, will get their usual payment on May 1st and a second payment on May 30th. That's because June 1st falls on a Sunday. SSI payments typically come on the first day of a month, but are moved ahead if the first is a weekend or a holiday. So that second May payment will actually be for June. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Michaela Newton.
And I'm Katara Jones. Coming up, local transit workers used today to make their voices heard.
Low wages and unfair treatments are driving these workers to the picket lines. I'm Noel James, and just ahead, the details on their demands.
Welcome to Extra Butter, Please. I'm your host, Sydney Jackson. We kick up. What happened? Where are the lights? Prince George's County Community Television is at risk of being defunded. Hard-hitting local news and creative content will cease to exist. Contact your county council member at 301-952-3282 3700 and tell them to continue funding PGCTV. Prince George's County depends on it. Contact your county council member at 301-952-3700 and tell them to continue funding PGCTV. Prince George's County depends on it.
Hi friends, Brad and Brian here from the B&B Movie Review Show, asking for some help. We need you to save CTV. I know you're probably thinking like, look, I've got YouTube, I've got Good Morning America, I've got national news. Well, they don't care about you. We are community television. You need your community television. We are the platform for you. Without community television, you have no one talking about what's going on in your lives, on your streets, around your corners. This is essential programming, and you do not want to just give it up to a national news broadcast. You want your stories being told on your television sets, and CTV is doing that for you right now.
So it is imperative that we save Prince George's Community Television. This is your station. So I am telling you to call your county council at 301-952-3700 and demand that Prince George's Community Television is fully funded.
Welcome back. More than a dozen workers of the Mart's Gold Line began a strike early Thursday morning, citing unfair labor practices.
CTV's Noel James is at the picket lines.
Normally, Mart's Gold Line provides fixed route commuter services between Southern Maryland and Washington, D.C. But today, it's a slow commute as these workers say they've had enough.
Indeed, they are Mart's employees and part of the Amalgamated Transit Union Local 689 that represents bus operators, mechanics, and technicians. The union says that Mart's has been, quote, bullying workers at the bargaining table.
They've refused to bargain in good faith. They've surveyed our members illegally, and they haven't been really interested or acting like they want to reach a contract. They're just going through the motions, and instead of offering meaningful proposals or acknowledging workers' concerns, they've been just dismissing them.
They also claim that Mart's employees are already undercompensated compared to other transit workers in the DMV. So what are they asking for?
For better wages, man, for a fair contract. You know what I'm saying? We need a living wage. We need better health care. We need 401k. We need sick leave. We don't need a child rate. We just need to be treated fairly, that's all.
According to the union, in a recent meeting with the company last Tuesday, Mart's doubled down on a previously rejected proposal and refused to compromise with the workers. CTV reached out to both Mart's and the Maryland Department of Transportation and has not heard back.
Now, these transit workers have been working on an expired contract since January 20th, 2025. In Hyattsville, Noel James for CTV News.
All right, Noel, thanks so much for that report. Well, newly signed changes to Maryland's Child Victims Act could lead to court challenges and a wave of lawsuits. This week, Governor Wes Moore and legislative leaders signed House Bill 1378 into law, which cuts the potential awards to men and women who were abused as children in state custody in half. Those awards were promised just 2 years ago in legislation that was applauded for giving survivors another chance to have their day in court. But thousands of claims by victims opened the door to potentially budget-crushing financial awards. And lawyers representing those victims say they will be vigorously opposing the new bill.
A teenager is dead after a brutal crash in the county Wednesday morning. According to Maryland State Police, a 17-year-old boy was traveling in the southbound lanes of Ritchie Marlboro Road shortly before 9 a.m. For reasons still unknown, the teenager drove off the road and crashed into some trees. Maryland State Police are investigating the incident.
And another deadly crash happened Wednesday afternoon in Camp Springs. Prince George's police responded to a two-vehicle crash at the 5800 block of Allentown Road shortly before 2:30. Officers found 38-year-old Anthony Easter inside of an SUV. He was later pronounced dead on the scene. Investigation shows Easter was traveling southbound when he lost control and hit the second vehicle. The second driver was not injured.
Two Maryland universities are dealing with some of its international students having their student visas revoked and their legal status in the United States terminated. The University of Maryland College Park has confirmed that 7 people, quote, have experienced termination of their lawful status in the U.S. as of April 21st. Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore has 37 international students dealing with a similar situation. The State Department has revoked student visas and has ended the legal status for more than 1,100 international students since last month.
Well, President Donald Trump signed a slew of education-related executive orders this week, including an overhaul of the college accreditation process. That's the federal government's process for deciding what colleges and universities can access billions of dollars in federal student loans and Pell Grants. The executive order tells the Secretary of Education to hold higher education accreditors accountable through denial, monitoring, suspension, or termination for poor performance or violations to the Federal Civil Rights Act. And still to come on CTV News.
If you're making plans this weekend, you don't want to miss this.
Hey everyone, we got food, wine, something for my Commanders fans. We got the ballet, comedy, and so much more. What's the Move is up next. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, I'm Eric Fields, the bosses of the Gamma Pi chapter of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. I'm here at the empty set of our show, Community Uplift. The reason there is no one here is because we wanted to show you what it would look like if the Prince George's County government closes down our community television station because of budgetary constraints. Without the station, important information will not be delivered to the citizens of the county. Without the station, there will be no opportunities for our aspiring newscasters, videographers, and television producers to get real-life training from this award-winning television station here in Prince George's County, Maryland. Let the members of the County Council know how important the station is to you, the citizens of Prince George's County. I'm Eric Fields, and I support this station.
It's cancer.
Welcome back. A rate hike could be coming to a major utility company. According to reports, Washington Gas is proposing to increase its rates by about 12%. That means some utility bills could go up by $15. The utility company says the hike is needed to help pay for maintenance and infrastructure upgrades. The Public Service Commission of the District of Columbia must approve the rate change.
While we wait to see if the Washington Commanders will go back to playing at their old site in D.C., President Trump jumps in on the debate of whether they should go back to their old name. Trump fielded questions regarding the rebuild of a new stadium at the old RFK site, where he stated that the Redskins were a superior name to the Commanders. The Commanders changed their name back in 2020. Since then, the debate over the team's name has been polarizing, especially among Native American communities. Commanders owner Josh Harris says the new name is here to stay, but the debate is far from over.
Well, if you have planned on going out this weekend, it's going to be a busy one right here in the DMV.
That's right, and whether you're a fan of the arts or looking for a good laugh, Brittany Aaliyah is back with another What's the Move?
Happy Thursday! The weekend is around the corner, and I'm so excited to fill you in on some moves to make before it hits. Let's start with the arts. The Ballet Theater of Maryland is performing Swan Lake tomorrow and Saturday. Now, if you love going to the ballet, which I absolutely love, then there's literally no other ballet with quite the reputation as Swan Lake. The show starts at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow, and on Saturday it starts at 1 p.m. Grab your tickets now to experience the stunning performance. All right, music-wise, and this is for my old school crowd. The Whispers will be at the Bethesda Theater tomorrow and Saturday starting at 8 p.m. Now, this group has been in the music industry for over 55 years, which is so impressive. And I heard they still put on a really great show. Be sure to go check them out while they're in town. Switching gears to comedy, Colin Jost is at the National Harbor tomorrow. Now, you might recognize him as the co-anchor on SNL's Weekend Update, but tomorrow he's actually hitting the stage and bringing you all of his sharp wit and unforgettable laughs. Doors open at 8 p.m., so don't miss this must-see show. And if you can't make it to the National Harbor tomorrow, how about on Sunday? Well, the highly anticipated Commanders draft party is going down from 11 to 4. And as a Commanders fan myself, you know, it's going to be a great time to celebrate the NFL draft with Washington legends, live entertainment, and so much more. And for all of my foodies out there, the 3rd annual Black Women in Food Summit is back. This 2-day event starting tomorrow is the premier event celebrating renowned chefs, restaurant goers, food writers, innovators, farmers, and entrepreneurs. So basically, it's everyone in the food industry. Now, if you love food, like me and so many others, you gotta head to Eaton DC for this amazing culinary experience. And real quick, I just want to mention that DC Wine Fest is on Saturday at Union Market, and also DC Film Fest is underway this weekend too, until May 4th. From the ballet and music to comedy and food, there's so much happening around us this weekend in the DMV, so don't miss out. And I'll be right here next week for more on What's the Move. Have a great weekend ahead, everyone.
All right, Brittany, sounds like fun. Thanks so much. And next, Simon Buggs is here with our Thursday sports page.
That's right. What's going on, Simon?
Hey there, everyone. Coming up on your Thursday sports page, some highlights from the UMD women's lacrosse team's Big Ten tournament matchup against Rutgers. That story and more in a bit. Don't move.
My name is Antonia DeBarros, and I'm a film and television editor, and I got my start as an intern at CTV. Growing up in Prince George's County, Hollywood seemed so out of reach for me. I wouldn't have believed in the possibility of this career before I started working at CTV. CTV has been and continues to be an invaluable resource for our community to gain entry into news, education, and entertainment programming. This year's county budget must include funding for CTV.
There are so many losers. They're everywhere. Doubt. Fear. Sorrow. They lose. Melancholy loses. Confusion loses. Uncertainty. Hopelessness. And illness. All lose. There are just so many losers. When science wins.
Okay, everybody, y'all know what time it is. Let's get right to it. We begin with some college lacrosse highlights. Fans gathered at the UMD Field Hockey and Lacrosse Complex to watch the women's lacrosse team take on Rutgers in the opening round of the Big Ten tournament. Now, Rutgers struck first in the opening quarter as these goals from Kaylee Coughlin and Delaney Stutley helped the Red and Black jump out to a 2-0 lead. But soon after, Maryland's offense woke up, and these goals from midfielders Devin Livingston and Corey Edmondson tied the game at 2 apiece. Lady Terps did eventually take the lead and was up 3-2 going into the second. Now the game remained close in the second quarter as both teams traded goals with one another. But this sweet spin move into a goal from attacker Lauren LaPointe gave her team the lead with just 30 seconds left in the quarter. And the Lady Terps went into halftime up 7-6 on the Scarlet Knights. Moving on to the third quarter, Maryland rallying off 4 goals to Rutgers' 2 helped them pull away, and the team ended the third up 11-8. And Maryland kept the lead for the rest of the game, winning the matchup 17-11. Congratulations on the win, ladies. The team will match up next versus Michigan in the semifinal round tomorrow at 7:30. And sticking with lacrosse, there will be some action on the high school side of things, as Fairmont Heights will host Suitland, Northwestern will travel to Springdale to match up against Flowers, and Bowie will take on Oxon Hill. Now, Commanders fans, the day is finally here. The NFL draft begins tonight, and I'm so hyped for it. Just the first round will take place tonight, where the Burgundy and Gold had the 29th overall pick. And the team has a couple of positions they can target, such as edge rusher and cornerback. An edge rusher the team could potentially select if he falls to number 29 is Donovan Ezeraku out of Boston College. Ezeraku had 16.5 sacks this past season, which was second in the country. And this was good enough to earn him ACC Defensive Player of the Year, as well as an All-American selection. Moving on to the secondary, a cornerback that the team could take a chance on is Trey Amos from Ole Miss. Amos was first-team All-SEC with the Rebels in 2024. He also led the team in pass breakups with 13 and was tied for the team lead in picks with 3. The team could even trade down to acquire more picks. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what my team does tonight. The draft begins at 8 o'clock. And wrapping up sports, the Washington Capitals took a 2-0 series lead over the Montreal Canadiens after beating them 3-1 yesterday. The two teams will take the ice for Game 3 tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And that is your Thursday sports page. Simon Bugs, CTV Sports.
Now let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight will be partly cloudy out. Tomorrow will be partly sunny with a high of 77 to kick off the weekend, but showers are likely after 2 a.m. Saturday it will be 79 degrees and we have a 90% chance of rain. Sunday we'll have clear skies. We'll also have a high of 69 and a low of 48.
And for our community calendar tomorrow night, the city of Bowie is hosting Teen Night at the City Gym. Teens are invited for an evening of games and activities like basketball, agility drills, yoga, and music. Teen Night takes place from 7 to 9 p.m. and teens must live within the municipal limits of Bowie. But for more information, contact 301-809-2384.
And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.
Hi, my name is DeAndre Vidal, and I'm a 2-time Emmy-winning assistant editor and a former CTV intern. CTV is perfectly positioned to empower Prince Georgians to be the leaders in local news and entertainment for Prince George's County and beyond. The county budget for the future needs to include CTV because CTV is an essential community resource for the future.